this is Zhenya's kitchen. And you know what time it is? It's the season! The Kwanzaa, the Hanukkah, the Christmas, and a little bit later for Russians we do the New Year. So one thing that for me unites every single holiday, or is the holiday, is cookies. How can you say no to a cookie? You're Jewish, your neighbor's Christian, they come bring you cookies, you say, hey, yeah, hello, come over, here's my cookies. People do cookie exchanges. This is the time, no matter who you are and where you are. Cookies, winter, they all kind of go together. So we call it seasonal treat. In this house, I don't really do cookies that often. I have a couple of recipes, but what I really prefer making is biscotti. I have my grandma's recipe, which I lost, and I asked for it again, and what she told me is, you take a little bit of that, and I'll take a little bit of this. Well, that's not how you make biscotti. I needed measurement, so I had to look it up, and I had to tweak it, and I had to make it my own. So there we go. Zhenya's kitchen today, we're making biscotti with pecans and cranberries. I'm gonna meet you at this table, different angle, and we're gonna start mixing things. So as always, my recipe card's up here because I do need those measurements. We're going to start with 2 eggs. I have exactly 2 eggs over here. Crack. Oi, careful, careful. They do say if you drop the eggshell inside of the bowl, it's best to use a bigger eggshell to get it out. I've tried it, doesn't work. Now then they say you can use a wet finger. That doesn't work either. I'm not sure what works. A lot of work, that's what works. I'm going to rinse out my hands since I have a raw egg on it. The next ingredient that we're gonna put in is going to be a cup of brown sugar. I have light brown sugar here. So I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I'm gonna put it in a bowl. And I think brown sugar you have to pack it. So we're gonna use the back of my hand and pack it in a little bit. Whoop, that was a big chunk. All right, there it goes. Now we're gonna mix it in. So this is what it looks like so far. Then I have a half a cup of butter here. It's already been melted and I cooled it off, so there it goes. Half a cup of melted butter. You can use it soft, but then it will be a little bit harder for you to mix in, and it doesn't really matter. I don't find it really affecting the texture because it's biscotti. You end up making it dry anyway. Kind of mixing it in a little bit. Half a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna just eyeball it. About a teaspoon of vanilla, same thing. All right, now we have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So I've got baking powder here. 1, 2. Mix it in. So this is what it looks like. Slushy. I don't do that whole wet ingredients, dry ingredients. I just mix it as it goes. And the last thing is 2.5 cups of flour. This is for main ingredients. So this is my half cup measurement, so I have to do 5. Whoops. 2, 3, 4, 5. This was 2.5 cups of flour. This one's gonna get a little harder to mix in. It's gonna incorporate slowly. And it's gonna become really hard. That's why you shouldn't really use a whisk. If you want, you can use a stand-up mixer with like a dough hook, because this is gonna become very stiff and very hard to mix. But also, in the sense of a mixer, it doesn't need to be mixing that well. Like basically you don't want to overmix it. You don't want to overdo it. You kind of just want it all to marry. So this is what it looks like now. Kind of like a dough. Like a cookie dough. Okay. So the last thing you put in is whatever else you want to flavor it with. So we picked dry cranberries. I'm just going to do half of handfuls. You can do chocolate chips. You can do any kind of dry fruit. You can do any kind of nut. So here I have about 1.5 handfuls or 2 handfuls of pecans. So I'm just gonna break them with my hands. That gets a little bit more. We're gonna use just them all up. All right. Be sure there is no shells, you never know. And just mix it in as much as you can. This is becoming really stiff and really hard. This is why I'm saying to you, if you use just soft butter, this is gonna be really physically hard to do. You might wanna use some kind of something or a husband. All right, this is what it looks like now. We're going to move onto the cookie sheet, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. And the oven is at 350, all right? Cookie sheet in a second, I'll meet you there. Cookie sheet has a parchment paper on it, nothing else. I'm gonna take our dough and just dump it out. Okay. And now we're going to form our loaf. You can do more than one. I'm just gonna do one, a white one. You don't have to knead this dough. All you're doing is push and press, push and press, push and press. You wanna incorporate all those little crumbs into the loaf. This is your time to make it funny and designy if you want to do the edges, because when you slice it you can have pretty edges too. I'm just gonna try to make my best and make it uniform. There we go. Alright, I think I did my best as much as I could. Most of the crumbs are in there. Now I'm gonna put it in the oven and I am gonna lower it. The second I put it in, I'm gonna lower it to 325. So it kind of gets that heat shock and then cools off a little bit. And I am gonna time it, and we're only gonna cook it basically till it's almost done, and then there is a trick to it. So I'll time it and we'll come back and I'll show you what we're gonna do to make it the real crunchy biscotti. To look this gorgeous, the loaf took 20 minutes in a 325 temperature. So this is what we're doing now. I turned off the oven completely, took it out. I actually have it standing on something so I'm not burning my counter. And I'm going to slice it into the biscotti cookie size. It's soft. At this point, if you want to eat it like this, or you might want to bake it a little longer, but you can. If you give it another 5 minutes in the oven or so, it'll become just a great loaf cookie. But this is not what we're going for. We're going for biscotti. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to separate it and cut them in half as well and flip them over. It's okay that they're crumbing. Believe me, when they're so delicious, every crumb's gonna get eaten. Slowly cut this whole group in half. That way it's easier to eat. Nobody feels like they're having too big of a piece. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, but they are still kind of gooey in the middle. Don't worry, that will get fixed. Your oven is still hot. So after we do all this, we're going to put them back in the oven. Ideally is to leave it in the oven that just got turned off overnight. They're gonna dry, they're gonna be gorgeous. If you feel like you're in more of a rush, then you might want to keep it up at like 200 degrees and maybe do, I'm not sure how much. I never actually done it. I always leave it overnight. I'd say check it every half an hour, see when they're done and they're perfectly crispy. Whoops. All right, this is it. I laid them out. Everybody's got their own space. I'm going to pop them right back in the oven, and I think I'm gonna leave them overnight and I have to do taste tests the next day, but that's okay. They are gonna be delicious. And by the way, the house smells so good. This is a cookie time. The only thing about biscottis, if you are gonna leave them overnight, you wanna bake them last if you like in the cookie baking spree, and or if you're gonna make dinner, you wanna make them last. You wanna put the last thing because you're gonna leave them there and you can't have your oven on anymore. All right, this is it. Let's go in the oven. We'll be back to you whenever they're done, and we're gonna have the most delicious and crunchy taste test. So instead of waiting overnight, we decided just to wait till very, very late in the evening and just try them. They are totally cooled off. They look perfectly crunchy. So let's have a taste test, because we just can't wait anymore. Oh, everything looks so good. I'm trying the edge. There it goes. It's gonna be crummy. There it goes. Mmm. is really good. Did not get a nut in this bite. Let's get a nut. Yummy. It's sweet, super crispy. I can barely hear myself talk how crispy that is. It's not really hard to bite. It's delicious. Eventually just like melts in your mouth. It's really close to my grandma's recipe. So this is the deal. At this point, you can do anything. Drizzle chocolate, white, milk, dark, dip in chocolate. Put some kind of sprinkles on it. You don't have to use this kind of berries and these nuts. You can do anything. You can do chocolate chips. You can put cinnamon in it. Actually, cinnamon would go really well with cranberries and pecans as well. This is really good. I'm gonna have to make more so I have enough for everybody, because usually these things between my husband and my father-in-law go quick. I'm Zhenya. This is Zhenya's Kitchen, and this is my take on biscotti.